election year, and we brought you your election coverage.
We have reminders on campus safety.
And we have the highlights from this semester in our final edition of Wildcast.
This is Wildcast.
Good evening and welcome to this semester's last edition of Wildcast. I'm Sarah Cantey.
And I'm Max Efrein. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's time to meet your new president. Ann Weaver Hart was inaugurated last Sunday as the University of Arizona's 21st president. She spoke of her plans for the university, which include making the U of A a model for other land-grant research universities. Hart succeeded Robert N. Shelton in July following her 6-year presidency at Temple University. Hart is the first woman to lead the University of Arizona.
It's tradition for our last episode of the semester to look back at the highlights of the year, and boy, did a lot happen.
Yeah, seriously. We had, a knifing at the library?
Yeah, a space shuttle Endeavour flew over.
Right, and the district got a name for itself for so much partying and
Yeah,
whatnot.
it was a crazy year of news, but definitely the biggest story this year was the presidential election on November 6th. Ted Skroback gave us a look at last-minute preparations by both parties.
We're down here at the Republican rally just the day before the election. It's last-minute preparations for both the Republicans and the Democrats. We'll take a look at what they're doing. After talking with a few candidates as well as a representative, one thing's for sure. Confidence ran high for both parties the day before the election.
With this ground game, we are optimistic and confident.
A lot of people are asking me if I'm worried. I said, I'm not worried. Whether I'm going to win or not, I don't know. We'll know tomorrow and then ask me again.
I am. We have worked hard. We've worked very, very hard.
The Republicans started bright and early with a 7:30 a.m. rally, a last chance to get all of the Republican candidates together.
You have your crew of people that you work with, but you know that there's other candidates with their individuals, and it's just good for us to all get together and just say, hey, we've been out there working. Energy feeds on itself, so you can really feel the good vibrations and all the positiveness that's coming out of it.
Bell, who is running for Pima County Board of Supervisors, was stressing the importance of their core voters.
In terms of getting last-minute votes, these are the individuals. These are our core. They've already, if they live in our district, they're going to already have voted for us or plan on voting for us. So, it's just a matter of getting a little bit more enthusiasm out there to maybe they'll be inspired to dig down a little bit deeper and make that extra phone call or send out those extra emails.
Just a couple of miles away, the Democratic headquarters was humming. The Democrats are moving full force for their Get Out to Vote efforts.
We're in the absolute thick of the GOTV effort, Get Out to Vote. At this point, it's all about numbers and turning out individuals, contacting as many individual voters as we can.
With the redistricting of Arizona, new legislative lines could bring a competitive advantage to the Democrats. At least Patrick thinks so.
The state legislature, we have new maps, new competitive maps that allow both sides, Republicans and Democrats, to compete on an even playing field. That gives, moderate and independent and Democratic voters an opportunity to change up the leadership in this state, which has gone decidedly to the right, far to the right, as a matter of fact, for the last 40 years.
Party ties aside, the images of Gabrielle Giffords dropping off her ballot to the Pima County Recorder's Office is a heartfelt moment in the midst of the most talked about campaign season in years. Reporting for Wildcast, Ted Skroback.
It was pretty interesting how all eyes were kind of on Arizona after we just could not get those ballots counted to decide those last two races.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was interesting to see that Barbara took it. A comic printed in our daily newspaper created quite the stir. The editor-in-chief said the inappropriate and homophobic cartoon made its way into the Daily Wildcat by mistake. It showed a father threatening his son about coming out as gay, followed up by the son joking about it. The cartoonist was fired and the editor issued several apologies. The director of student media here on campus said picking up the pieces from the backlash was stressful for everyone involved, but the show had to go on and the papers had to get printed.
In the beginning of the semester, it was extremely hard to get to class because of the streetcar track construction. Wildcast reporter Kimberly Collender told us about concerns the news track pose.
The construction of the 4-mile modern streetcar line, set to extend from the University of Arizona to the 4th Ave Commercial District in downtown Tucson, has been in progress since late May. making it inconvenient for vehicles and pedestrians to reach their destinations.
It's just really hard because you're trying to get where you're going and everyone's like rushing and so like when I have to go from the ILC to Harville in 10 minutes, it's really, really bad.
The recently added streetcar tracks now pose a threat to cycling safety and this once bike-friendly environment.
You just have to watch out when you're riding around those tracks. If you try and cross over them, if you get your wheel stuck in that groove, you're gonna fall. So when you turn over them, you have to like almost go perpendicular to the actual tracks, and then you won't fall. I figured it out the hard way.
The ongoing construction has not only caused a trafficking disturbance around the community, the newly installed streetcar tracks are now a hazardous zone for bikers. Witnesses have reported multiple accounts of bike tires getting wedged into the tracks and causing several accidents. As a result, the University of Arizona, in conjunction with the Sunlink, have set up construction safety signs as a cautionary warning for bikers when riding along the tracks. Tucson city contractors and the university's parking and transportation services are making it a priority to notify and educate bikers of some necessary precautions when traveling through roads that are aligned with streetcar tracks.
We know that bicycles and streetcar tracks can be a dangerous situation, so we wanted to make sure that bicyclists knew how to interact with the streetcar tracks. So this brochure is designed for bicyclists to look at, so when they do approach the tracks, they know things like to cross them at a 90-degree angle. Don't ride parallel to them. And it's got some other information about watching out for door zones.
While streetcar construction is scheduled to continue late into 2013, we hope our UA cyclists take caution to avoid hazardous accidents. Reporting for Wildcast, I'm Kimberly Colliner.
After the break, we continue our highlights with advice on protecting your belongings.
Welcome back. Property theft was unfortunately a problem this semester. Megan Canterbury reports.
The northwest side of Tucson has seen 2 home invasions in the past few weeks, an unprecedented amount for the tranquil Tucson community. While these invasions don't affect us here at the University of Arizona, we do deal with similar crimes, resulting in students feeling unsafe both on and off campus.
I get nervous sometimes, not so much this year because I'm usually just there during the day, but if I ever stay late to study or like sometimes last year when I was in the dorms, if it was nighttime I would get nervous a lot.
One of the highest crimes on campus, or actually the highest crime that occurs on campus, are property crimes. So you're looking at things like bicycle theft, laptop theft, criminal damage. When robberies have occurred on campus, it's usually in the very late hours or early hours of the day. So you're looking possibly, let's say, 2 in the morning. And usually it's when someone's walking alone, not aware of what's happening around them. And they're also walking in secluded areas, like maybe through an alley or between buildings where it's dark.
There are over 100 emergency blue light phone stations on campus. If you feel like you're being followed, simply find the nearest station and press the emergency button. It is important to find as many stations as you can in order to leave a trail for police. There were more than 50 burglary reports last year, and the numbers keep growing. Since theft is the #1 crime on campus, never leave any personal belongings unattended. Stay safe, Wildcats, and always be aware of your surroundings. Reporting at the U of A for Wildcast, I'm Megan Canterbury.
With the increased number of fires in the past few weeks, reporter Jackie Kent looked into fire safety.
In light of 4 separate fires that have occurred at a residence hall on the U of A campus since October 20th, the fire department emphasizes fire safety concerns to U of A students. The Tucson Fire Department has received 30 full alarm dispatches to house fires alone since October 14th. That does not include building, apartment, or mobile home fires. Captain Barrett Baker of the Tucson Fire Department says it's important to know you're 2 ways out of a smoky room.
The smoke is suffocating. I mean, absolutely suffocating. You will not be able to breathe. It's a matter of, can you hold your breath? Can you get out? And that's the only thing on your mind is basically surviving.
Unlike the movies, fire smoke makes it nearly impossible to find a direct route out of a room.
And this fireman's mask is clouded to show just how hindered your line of vision could be when trying to find an escape route out of a smoky room. I can't even see a few inches in front of me.
Captain Baker says you never know when it will happen to you, so the best thing to do is to be prepared. I did a demonstration of how hard it would be to escape if I was stuck in a smoky room.
That was impossible.
UAPD also has tips for students. During a fire alarm, immediately evacuate the building and follow the directions of first responders. Report damaged, faulty, or inoperable smoke detectors or fire suppression equipment to University of Arizona Fire Safety. And be aware of your surroundings and immediately report suspicious people, objects, or activity. Reporting for Wildcast, I'm Jackie Kent.
A month ago, the 50 to 60 million residents in the northeastern part of the U.S. braced themselves for Superstorm Sandy, which hit landfall Monday, October 22nd. Here's what our reporters had to say about it. Sandy is traveling through the most populated areas of the country. A state of emergency has been declared in the states expected to be hit hardest. Cities have been evacuated and schools and businesses remain closed. Hundreds of thousands are currently without power. After Hurricane Sandy ravaged the East Coast, there will be issues with some people going out and voting, specifically in New Jersey and New York. There are still almost 1 million people out of power in the tri-state area. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has urged everyone to mail in their vote instead of going to booths, since some polling areas, such as schools and municipal buildings, are being used as shelters for people without electricity. It is expected that there will be delays in getting a correct tally of the votes from some of these states, but everyone was still encouraged to vote in whatever way they can.
It was good to see that actually didn't affect that much of voting.
Right, the voting was not. I mean, on a personal level, my father was in upstate New York, and he didn't feel the storm very much, but his electricity was out for 4 days, so it was kind of a big deal.
I'm glad that's cleanup's still going on.
Exactly.
But are you friends with your taxi driver? Wildcast reporter Liza Pluto looked into the relationship between students and their cab drivers.
With a campus of over 30,000 students, it is inevitable to meet new people. Students at the University of Arizona establish many relationships. Whether it is through Greek life, clubs, or classes, bonds are formed almost instantly. However, the most sacred bond a student at the U of A can establish is one with their cab driver. Cab drivers not only play the part as a designated driver, but to some students, they also play the role as a mentor, friend, and late-night food chauffeur.
My cab driver's name is James, and our story is we met first time last year when I was a freshman outside of La Paz dorms, and he just picked me up, and it was love at first sight when I knew that he was going to be picking me up in a white limo every single time. So we still have a strong relationship. He still picks me up every Thursday, Friday, and occasionally on Saturdays and Wednesdays.
These bonds these students have with their cab driver become very serious, and some relationships exist outside of hours of operation. Tanner and his cab driver Bill get together on Sundays for a bar crawl. Tanner usually joins Bill's wife Linda, and occasionally some friends.
Well, I'm going to use the term favorite, but I'm kind of like one of his favorite uncles at this point. And our our association, our friendship has just kind of grown weekly, week by week.
I thought we had a lot in common, and it was somebody who I wanted to be loyal to.
I can't think of anyone that I've become as close to as Tanner, but there are a few, and mainly they're friends of Tanner's.
It is no mystery as to why these bonds form between students and their cab drivers. It is reassuring to know that these students get home safely while establishing a firm relationship. For Wildcast, I'm Liza Pluto.
I mean, that's just the sign of a good taxi driver, honestly.
I know, and it's kind of funny how that's a phenomenon on the U of A campus. Not many college campuses are like that. But don't forget, you can always find out more online. Over the break, we will give you the latest news updates, answer your questions, and post challenges on our Facebook page.
After the break, we continue with the semester's highlights.
I'm Derek Williams, your former U of A Wildcat. You're watching UA TV. Don't change the channel.
I'll be right there.
Thanks, cameraman. You're my hero.
Hello, and welcome to UA Tonight.
We are your hosts.
It's okay, you don't have to cut me off.
No way.
I'm like
Thank
literally
you so
obsessed.
Baby, I'll be such to you like you. Baby.
It's all these travelers. I've never even been there.
For drunk driving after calling the cops on himself.
We thought that, you guys.
Oh my
God!
With an undefeated 5-0 outcome for the Fall Classic Tournament.
The Occupy movement is taking hold because of its strength in numbers.
Tonight is the absolute last night to ride the trolley, as it is closing for 2 years.
Sitting on what used to be known as Bear Down Field, which will soon be U of A's new practice field.
I'm Evan Murray, reporting from McHale Center with Wildcast.
Welcome back. The Campus Movie Festival led a few UA students to a fantastic opportunity. Wildcast reporter Allie Lee had the story.
Last Saturday, students gathered at the Gallagher Theater in the Union to watch a screening of the top 16 movies submitted at Campus Movie Fest. Campus Movie Fest was started in 2001 by 4 students at Emory University. They wanted to see what would happen if they provided their fellow students with the resources they would need to make their own movies in 1 week. The success of that event led to the growth of the festival across the globe. Since then, over 500,000 students have participated.
Partnered with Norton, which is like Norton Crime Drama. It's a crime drama category where students have a chance to win $10,000, and they have a chance to meet Anthony Zeiker, the guy who created CSI.
Campus Movie Fest, the world's largest student film and music festival, offers students opportunities and exposure they wouldn't have otherwise.
Well, those students who win at their school get their movies screened at CMF Hollywood, so that's really good. We also have a Distinguished Filmmakers Network, where it's kind of like a networking opportunity for students to join, and we connect them with industry professionals.
In addition to having the opportunity to have their work screened at the Cannes Film Festival, in flight on Virgin America, and in Hollywood, Campus Movie Fest also offers networking to students.
Working with Brad and David, I think that in the future after graduation they're going to be extremely talented directors, and all I can hope is to just be in the future like, hey, remember me? I worked with you, and we hopefully just establish a good continuing working relationship, as you never know where these people are going to end up in 5 or 10 years. I have a feeling where they're going to end up, but...
From the Gallagher Theater, I'm Allie Lee with Wildcast.
I mean, I personally love Campus Movie Festival. It allows students to flex their creativity as well as kind of get their name out there in a significant way.
Yeah, we have a lot of talented students on campus.
Absolutely. Wildcast reporter Natasha Malenko brought us an insight into tailgating on the UA campus with Tailgate Tales.
Tailgating is a sign that the football season has begun. As the Wildcats are off to a great start, many dedicated fans arrive hours before the game to show their support and spirit for the University of Arizona's football team.
We started the Wildcat Yacht Club because we loved U of A so much that every single year we kept coming to games, and we wanted to become a little bit more part of it and spend all day long enjoying all the camaraderie that U of A has and the love that all the fans have as well.
In the most unique way possible, out of a 15-foot boat in the middle of the desert.
Tailgating on the U of A Mall is reserved for Arizona football season tailgate pass holders only. There's two kinds of tailgating passes you can have. First come, first serve, and reserved tents, which include corporate sponsorship tailgating.
I've been tailgating 20 years. We come to every game because, A, we love the Wildcats. B, we just love the party, the tailgate experience. You know, anybody that walks by can participate. We also invite in what we call the honored opposition, the visiting team guy. We invite them in to show what Arizona hospitality is like. We have a good time. We have friendships from all over the country that way. So it's just a blast.
I've been tailgating with a group of friends since 1998. We love doing it. We love coming to the games. And the most important thing is it's all about the football. We love the football here, and we love the culture of it all.
All tailgating areas are open 6 hours prior to kickoff and must be broken down and cleaned up within 1 hour of the game concluding.
We get here about an hour or so before the game because we want to get a good spot. Because when we tell people to join our tailgate, we always tell them we're across from the astronomy department, and we're easy to find. It takes us about 15 minutes to set up. It's not that hard because we got it down to a science.
2012, we brought a new feature. We brought more TVs outside. We brought more canopies. I brought more friends to help us set up. We get here, usually about 6 hours before game time. Takes about a good 7 or 8 people to help set up. But otherwise, after that, we rock and roll.
Reporting from the U of A Mall, I'm Natasha Malenko for Wildcast.
Arizona football experienced an up-and-down season under first-year head coach Rich Rodriguez, with wins over nationally ranked teams Oklahoma State and USC. The Cats earned a spot in the New Mexico Bowl in Albuquerque December 15th.
Men's basketball is poised to return to the NCAA tournament after missing out last year. Coach Sean Miller signed one of the top classes and brought in senior transfer Mark Lyons. The Cats are currently ranked 8th in the nation with a 5-0 record.
Women's cross country finished 6th at the NCAA championships, while men's cross country athletes Stephen Sambu and Lawi Lalang finished 2nd and 3rd respectively at the national championships. Sophomore Lalang earned his 2nd consecutive Pac-12 Male Athlete of the Year. Both women's volleyball and soccer had strong seasons, but missed out on postseason play.
We brought you a lot of election coverage this year, even social media coverage. I took a look at how Facebook and Twitter changed the game this campaign year. It is a wireless world, and the Facebook sensation is no longer just reserved for the younger generation.
My mom has one, my grandma has one.
Politicians are no exception to the growing trend.
Hey, Vera.
Take Tucson City Council member Regina Romero.
I am a very social person, so I mix a little bit of personal family stuff with messages from the Ward 1 Council office.
This election year, candidates are taking their campaigns to the Facebook and Twitterverse. University of Arizona College Republican Alan Jaskey says this helps reach out to people.
It really holds out a hand to people who never thought about voting before.
Social networking creates a whole new level of interaction with voters.
Politicians are having a hard time coming up with a cohesive strategy. Like, how am I going to utilize this technology in the best way possible?
Bethany Conway is a doctoral student researching social media and politics. She says a loss of message control is hard for some politicians to get used to.
Candidates are kind of left pondering the depth of their audience. Like, I honestly don't know how many thousands of people are going to read this tweet that I'm about to post.
Social media might be the latest craze, but what's more effective, Facebook and Twitter, or reaching out to people directly through phone banking and knocking on doors? Some strategists say there's a stigma attached to phone banking.
Oh, they call it dinner time, so they're being a nuisance and they're bugging you for their support.
But for other campaigners,
Hi, may I please speak with Donna Mitchell?
That face-to-face interaction is the most precious interaction you can have when you're campaigning.
so for now, it might not be out with the old and in with the new.
There has been a lot of research that when you go out and knock on people's door, that is going to be very, very effective, and that's something that we should never get rid of.
I think I can speak for everybody at UATV that we are extremely saddened to be losing a very valuable member of our team, Sarah Cantey.
I honestly cannot believe it's already been a full semester and this is going to be my last time sitting at this desk with you. But everyone, thanks for tuning in every Tuesday night, and obviously thanks to all the production crew, Director Greg, EP Katie, and of course our GM Jackie. So weird it's over. But from all of us here at UATV, thanks for joining us. You can watch us anytime online. Well, not me, but Max, at uatv.arizona.edu.
Have a wonderful break, and we'll see you back here next semester with more editions of Wildcast.